Good evening, metal faithful. It is I, your mandated reporter, and frankly, I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. On the agenda tonight is Dutch symphonic metal band Epica, who have released their 8th studio album, Omega, which came out on February 26, 2021. That's what we'll be talking about tonight. And here to help me do that, oh boy, it's the essential one. It's Mr. Essentiality, Captain Overtime, Mad Ducats overflowing out of buckets. Holy shit, it's Jesse Starcher.
Oh, Mark Radulich, do you have any idea how much Fat Boys I've listened to over the past week?
How much Fat Boys have you listened to? And let me ask you a question. Is it plain and simple that you need food and that if you eat some beans very soon, everybody in the place will leave the room?
Oh, wow. There are some great one-liners coming
Hey,
out
Melissa.
of that.
Pass a banana so I can peel. Slide to the kitchen, stuff my face, leaving not one crumb in the place. Because I can bust fresh rap back to back, and I'll devour any MC as if he were a snack. I'll eat and drink, and I'll tell you one thing: my breath don't stink.
That's right.
This podcast.
Special skills of yours before we got married. Probably voted well.
What's wrong? What's wrong with me doing my Fat Boys rap?
The fact that you can remember offhand Fat Boys rap is a little bit.
Oh, it's spectacular. Is what
It's
it is.
yeah. Jesse knows the deal. It's spectacular.
I don't know if that's
Spectacular.
Ugh, she don't know.
Oh, wow. So, yeah, hey, I know we're getting into we're going to be talking about Epica here. In just a
What
few
better
minutes,
way
but-
to start talking about Dutch symphonic metal than with a sidebar into 80s Fat Boys rap?
All meat, no filler, the best of the Fat Boys, okay?
Shit, yeah.
So, I have listened to that album at least 20 times over the past week because I enjoyed, almost every little bit of it. Especially, I remember Wipeout.
Yeah.
I forgot about the twist.
Yes. Come on, baby.
Dude,
Let's do the twist.
That rendition with Chubby Checker and he's jumping in. Here come the beatbox.
Yeah.
It's great. And Baby, You're a Rich Man. Every single song off of that album. Of course, it is a greatest hits album, but just about every single song off of there is I've listened to over and over and over. Like I was telling you, Can You Feel It? That was a hook off of a Warren G song that I knew backwards and forwards in '94. So I couldn't believe. Well, I knew that he had grabbed it from somewhere, but I assume either the Fat Boys originated or they'd sampled it as well. But either way, you got some great stuff like Sex Machine on there. I mean, I'm running around the house yelling, just quoting that one left and right.
Nice. Well done.
And even the Falling in Love, the sappy love song.
I had that going in the car with my daughter. You want to talk about an awkward car ride?
Oh, dude, here's what I didn't understand, okay? I've never, granted I haven't tried, but I've never had a woman swoon over beatboxing to her. I can't tell her I can't tell you I'm in love with you, directly. Instead, I've got to beatbox it to you, and she gets all she's ready to throw her panties at the guy, but I mean, it's over the phone. Either way,
who wouldn't throw their panties at a beatboxer?
Dude, it's the most. I sat there. I was like, this is not real. The guy is making fart noises with his mouth. How did she want to get that? Oh my goodness! That's so sweet. And I'm like, what, dude, come on, man. All right, well, he is a member of the Fat Boys. So, but anyway, just I know as a sidebar before we get into Epica, which is I don't know how different from Fat Boys you could get, but I had a fun time listening to Jailhouse Rap. Don't be stupid. Dude, I don't know how many times I've yelled that to the kids. Stupid.
Don't be stupid.
Had a fun time. Louie, it's interesting that a lot of their greatest hits are almost covers.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they became known for.
Yeah, and of course, I love the fact they almost close it out with "Are You Ready for Freddy," which is it's still a good song. So, yep. Anyway, just to kind of give you an update. I don't know if we said that at the end of the last episode that I had to watch listen to some Fat Boys. But I did, sir, and I had a good time.
Outstanding. So you refreshed my memory that this is not the first Epica album we've reviewed on the Metal Hammer of Doom. We reviewed their, what was it, the 2016, the Holographic Principle.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, I remember listening to that album, and I may have even said on the last podcast we just had that we covered Serenia last time, and I think there was a comment that I made where I said I liked the more metal elements than I did the symphonic elements. So if it was more metal forward than symphonic forward, I enjoyed that a little bit more. I gravitated towards that a little bit more. And one thing that I said was that if you're looking at symphonic forward, you're probably talking about bands like Epica or Nightwish. And we got to listening to this album, and now, of course, we'll talk about it as we go through it, but I started to kind of eat my words. I was like, wow, they actually do a fantastic blending of metal and symphony. And on the Holographic Principle, I don't remember being as impressed with that album than I am with this one. This one really made me a fan. So, but yeah, Holographic Principle 2016, October of 2016 is when we covered it. I don't know if I was on that podcast with you or not. It might have been Coop, but or you might have had Winfrey on, who knows. But anyway, we're jumping into 2021. It's been 5 years, and I heard a little bit about this album. Do you have any notes or anything there in front of you about what happened or what they did with this album?
Well, according to the wiki on the production part, it says Jansen discussed the concept of the album itself, saying, "We as humanity, we were drifting apart like competition. You see that in corporations' competition. And while we in fact flourish while we are working together." Regarding the album title, he stated additionally, there was the Omega Point theory that comes to the surface in the lyrics, and the Omega Point theory is dealing about the scientific speculation and spiritual view that we are fated to spiral towards one point of divine unification.
Okay, there's definitely a lot of spirituality throughout this album.
Yeah.
That's for sure. The one thing that I heard a couple times actually was that they had decided to actually come together for the first time in a very, very long time and sit down and hash this album out. So I don't know if previous albums, they were separated by distance or whatever, but they actually came together and they really put their minds to work on coming up with a very complete album. And I think this is, I saw it mentioned that this was the third in a trilogy of albums too. So I assume like this one, Holographic Principle, and then the one prior are actually all one big concept of some sorts. Now, it's meta because if you listen to the lyrics, like I said, there's a lot of focus on spirituality. There's a lot of focus on cosmic stuff. There's a lot of stuff focused on like chakras and balance, and it's interesting. But they really put their best foot forward to come up with an album that was ready to knock some socks off.
All right, so let's get into it. We're going to medley these like we normally would, 3 songs at a time. We're going to cut the first track because that's an instrumental. So what we got here kicking us off is Abyss of Time, Countdown to Singularity, The Skeleton Key, and Seal of Solomon. Seal of Solomon kicks the ass.
It's so funny because as I was listening, you can easily have your ears tricked into thinking that it's actually saying the Seal of Saruman.
Just see, I want to take a minute because, as we're doing this podcast, it's such a great album, and we're going to listen to more tracks in just a second. But if you actually want to check out this album after hearing this podcast, you're like, hey, you know what? This is actually pretty good. I'm liking what these guys are doing. I mean, we're going to talk a little bit about the reviews of this album a little bit later in the podcast, and I'll tell you, it scored really high. So if you're listening to our podcast and you're like, okay, I might not have heard of these guys before, but I'm digging it, you can actually check them out. The album is available on Amazon Music. Do you know that?
I did not know that. It's awesome.
Yes, sir. Amazon Music is actually, if you use our link, which is getamazonmusic.com/W2M network, W, the number 2, the letter M, network, getamazonmusic.com/W2M network. You can download a free membership to amazonmusic.com for 30 days, and you can do their Amazon Music Unlimited that's available, and you can listen to all the Omega, all the Epica you want, including their entire back catalog, and this album as well, which is Omega.
Very cool.
Yes, sir. So the singles that they put out for this, that first one there, Abyss of Time, Countdown to Singularity, which I kind of giggled to myself because I know us.
Yeah.
And I was like, hee hee, we've talked about the Singularity.
Oh,
I think
yeah.
I brought that up recently. Somebody was asking me a question, and I said to him, like, oh, I can't wait for the day I can upload my consciousness into the internet. I gotta not die long enough for that to happen.
Well, it's interesting because we'll have another track that directly correlates with things right here on the network that will pop up here in just a few.
Porn and cursing?
Nope. I don't think Epica's done that song yet. It's in the works. I'm sure it'll be on the next album.
Epica's 2025 album, Porn and Cursing. Their first single, Tits on Twitter, written by Steel Panther.
First track is Screw the Spiritual Shit.
They're gonna do a cover of an old Chem-Lab song, Fuck Art, Let's Kill.
Love it. Fantastic. And you used to think metal albums ended with a cover. No, sir. They're jumping right in it at the beginning.
So yeah, Abyss of Time, Countdown to Singularity was released actually October 9th of 2020, and then this the second album that we played in that grouping was The Skeleton Key, which came out February 26, 2021, the same day the album was released. So there's that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, yeah, I was worried when I first started this album. I was like, I'm not a fan of Epica. At least what I've heard, I've never been, I don't want to say impressed because their music is absolutely impressive.
Well, know me. You know I like my Avantasia, and more specifically, I like anything that sounds like a metal opera, which this does. This definitely is evocative of various singing styles, changes in keys and tempos. It's very dynamic. Just going off these first 3 tracks, Abyss of Time, Skeleton Key, and Seal of Solomon, there is a dramatic element to this music that I'm in love with.
Yeah. And for most of the time, I am usually tolerant of that, but then I just kind of like, okay, I've heard it once, twice, I'll go ahead and put that on the back burner. Maybe another day I'll listen to a song, but usually that's not something that I'm seeking out and listening to. So I was worried. When I first started this album, and my worries were wiped away, sir. I didn't have any problem with these first 3 tracks. The Seal of Solomon starts out with these Middle Eastern elements to it, and I used to think that I did not want that in my metal. And we've covered so many bands that have incorporated that Middle Eastern sound into their music, and every time I hear it, I love it. So Seal of Solomon was, of the 3, that's probably my favorite as well. If you look at the lyrics, again, spirituality is king throughout this whole album. Skeleton Key specifically is about self-reflection, the search for empowerment. There's some great guitar work throughout the whole thing. I mean, my goodness, you got these beautiful choirs that are singing, and
self-reflection is a lost art in the modern social sphere.
Okay, I can. Clearly, that's what Epica's trying to get across as well. Is that, hey guys, hey, take
maybe
a
little
yourself.
Self-reflection, maybe take a minute from attacking people on Twitter and think about your own self.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Epica and fucking Hatebreed, modern philosophers.
Yes, there's a lot of good messages. The first full track that we got, which was Abyss of Time, that and Countdown to Singularity. One of the main things that comes across in there in a specific verse is be the master of your life. Your walls of self-protection are walls of self-imprisonment. This is something that you look at yourself and try to better yourself and try to get past those things that kind of hold you back. Great stuff. I mean, it checked a lot of boxes for me. We got, how I am about clean vocals and harsh vocals. They do that spectacularly here in these first three. We have some great guitar work, some great crunchy riffs. All that stuff is happening. And so I'm really impressed with the first three, man.
Very good. All right, let's keep the train moving on here. We're going to go to our next three tracks. We've got Gaia, Code of Life, and Freedom, the Wolves Within. right, so I don't know if you know who Gaia is, but Gaia in Greek mythology, Jesse, is the personification of the earth.
That's right.
And one of the Greek primordial deities. Gaia is the ancestral mother of all life. She is the mother of Uranus, Teehee, so juvenile, from whose sexual union she bore the Titans.
All right.
The Cyclops and the Giants, as well as Pontus, from whose union she was a whore, apparently.
No.
From whose union she bore the primordial sea gods. Her equivalent in the Roman pantheon was Terra Rising, who went on to become Triple H.
That's what I was going to say. I just watched a video from 1994. It was him versus the Road Dogg Jesse James in WCW.
That's
I
right.
didn't understand what was going on. Crazy.
That might have just been Terra.
Okay.
Not Terra Rising. Fucking goofy name. Anyway, Gaia kicks ass though. Normally I'm not much for dirty hippie songs, but I like that.
I was going to say that's pretty hippie. That is a hippie song right there. So Code of Life and Freedom, the Wolves Within are probably the two heaviest songs, in my opinion, off of this album. I was going through my notes as I usually listen to the album, and then I jump in and about the third or fourth listen, I'm like, okay, time to start making notes. I guess I got to get prepared. And I get to like Code of Life, and I'm like, oh yeah, here we go. This is the one I remember. Okay, yeah, I like this one. I really do. So I'm making my notes and going on about it. I just can't stop from nodding my head. And then we get to Freedom and the Wolves Within, and I'm like, wait. I actually typed that in my notes. Wait. It's this is the one. Both of them kick some ass. So I was really on the fence as to which one I want to choose for the playlist. So I don't know if either one of those stand out to you and you wanted one, but if not, I think I'm going to go with Freedom and the Wolves Within as my favorite off of this album, the one that's going to make the playlist.
All right, you can go ahead and just give me Seal of Solomon.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, that will happen. So yeah, I mean, Gaia's okay for me. For me personally, it was one of the weaker ones off of here. But the thing is that this album is filled with a lot of great songs.
Yeah.
So something's got to go towards the end of your list of your, whatever, your top 5, your top 10. Gaia's probably down there for me. But man, both Code of Life and Freedom and the Wolves Within had me going. It just blew me away at how just badass Epica was. Simone and her vocals, especially in Freedom and the Wolves Within, seemed to really stand out. I know throughout this whole album, I mean, you cannot fault her at all with her vocalization and how amazing it is to hear her sing alongside these heavy-ass guitars. We've got the orchestra, and the album is produced so well and mixed so well. Not one element seems to overtake the other, and it would be a real shame to throw Simone's vocals way in the back and let the rest of the stuff shine forward. She's a, unbelievable singer, so you've got to give her some space, or you got to give her some space up front, but they don't throw her all the way to the front either to where it's overpowering. So it's a very well mixed album as well, very well produced.
In the influences, style, and theme section of the wiki, it says, when asked about the theme behind the 7-track Freedom, The Wolves Within, which was also the second single they released on November 27th, 2020, Jansen stated that the song is based on an old story of a fight between two wolves. We want to be in what we want to be and what we want to reflect on the world around us depends on which wolf we feed and also the degree of control we have in our inner wolves.
Oh, it's like that bear story from the New Mutants movie.
Kind of.
I don't know. Don't know if you remember that or not.
I try to forget that movie as best as I can.
I had a feeling you would. Well, that's cool. I mean, again, spiritual elements throughout this whole album. It's not unlike Epica to do that, so it's kind of, standard fare, but they weave a story so beautifully throughout a real heavy ass song. Great stuff.
Yep. All right, so let's play another 3 songs here, and when we come back, Jesse's going to have a collection of reviews for us. All right?
Sounds good.
All right, so here we go. We've got the longest song of the album at almost 13 minutes, 25 seconds. Kingdom of Heaven, Part 3. Rivers and Synergize, Manic Manifest.
just turned to stone. No fire in the bones. It's time to leave the past behind. The road is never ending. All dreams will start ascending beyond the boundaries of the mind. Break loose from the chains. Rise above the waves. Fighting in the darkness. Dancing in the light. Break out of your cage. Turn another page. Drowning in the river. Swim against the tide. Rise up from the fire, take back all authority. Let go of all that holds you down. Made up enemies imprison your identity, and soon your soul turns into stone. Start from within. This is the day we begin to break to change your point of view and rise.
The time has come, Jesse. Synergize now.
There's the track.
Yes, yeah, buddy. Before we go any further, the next portion of our program, rather, is brought to you by Grammarly. You know, I've been reading from the Wikipedia page for Epica Omega all night long. Jesse, I know you wrote notes for it, and I bet you use Grammarly, and I bet the person who wrote the Wikipedia page used Grammarly, because why wouldn't you use Grammarly? Grammarly's AI-powered products help people communicate more effectively. Grammarly helps you write mistake-free on Gmail, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and nearly anywhere else you write on the web. Grammarly corrects hundreds of grammar, punctuation, and spelling mistakes while also catching contextual errors, improving your vocabulary, and suggesting style improvements. So for you listeners of the Metal Hammer of Doom, brought to you by the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, right here on the W2M network, oh my goodness, Grammarly is offering a free download of the Grammarly software. So go to download Grammarly today. Go to getgrammarly.com/W2M network. Again, that's getgrammarly.com/W2M network. To download Grammarly for free. Oh my goodness, Jesse, isn't Grammarly wonderful?
That is wonderful.
And I bet all the reviews you're about to tell me about, not only did they give this like 9 out of 10 stars, 4 out of 5 stars, maybe even 5 out of 5 stars, but I bet all their reviews were written using the Grammarly software.
I sure hope so, because that software is useful.
Yes, sir.
Well, are you ready, sir? Here we go. We're jumping in. I got a lot of reviews here too. This album, Epica, clearly a popular band. A lot of
this past Friday. This was the Cat's Pajamas.
Yes, sir.
This is what everyone was talking about. This is the big release.
So I'm going to run down through. Let's do the numbers first.
Hang
I got
on.
a few
It's
quotes.
no King Lizard and the Lizard Gizzard. Wait, no, I fucked that up. It's no take two. It's no King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
That's true. That's true. Which I made it through that album. I listened
Did you
to that
really?
once. Yeah, I listened to that. That's some stoner shit.
Yeah, buddy. We're not going to cover it, but man, I listened to that 2 and 3 times reading through the Rough and Ready show and whatnot this past Monday, and yeah, by about the third or fourth time, I'm like, where's the pot? Where are the pot brownies? I need to be baked out of my fucking mind to listen to this.
That's right, man. Wow. Well, okay. So I again, I scour the internet, grabbed some reviews. I went on to YouTube even, checked out some guys reviewing some stuff over there. Quest for Metal gave it a 9.5 out of 10.
Sure they did.
9.5 out of 10. New Noise Magazine gave it a 5 out of 5.
Yep.
Ghost Cult Mag gave it a 9 out of 10. Heavy Music HQ gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Man of Much Metal gave it a 93%. Distorted Sound Mag gave it an 8 out of 10. And then Metal Wani gave it an 8 out of 10. Rounding things out, sonicperspectives.com gave it a 9.2 out of 10. Now I'm going to read a couple of the quotes here I just grabbed.
Hang on, before you do, on the Wikipedia focused on the following. Folk and Rock, how are we not checking Folk and Rock daily, by the way?
I don't know. That should be in your. Yeah, what's going on?
I should be going to Metal Injection, Blabbermouth, and Folk and Rock every day. But Folk and Rock gave it 5 out of 5. Kerrang, a very popular industry trade, 4 out of 5. Metal Hammer, 3.5 out of 5. And Sonic Perspectives, 9.2 out of 10. Go.
Yes, sir. Okay. Well, Man of Much Metal, I'll go ahead and read what he has to say. He says, I have to admit it. Epica have well and truly pulled me back into the fold. I wasn't expecting to like Omega this much, if I'm honest, but here I am with plenty of egg on my face. Perhaps the 5-year hiatus has done the band and I some good. Holly Wright from Louder Sound said, stacked up against their back catalog, though, it's hard to put Omega in the same league as the Divine Conspiracy and Design Your Universe for a simple lack of memorable songs. But peel back the histrionics. Histrionics, thank you. Histrionics. And there are compositions here that hint at being future fan favorites. What was the other one? I grabbed one. I'll read one more here just because I thought it stood out. Okay, Sonic Perspective. The band itself is better than ever, and the close bond between each member truly reflects the overall feeling on the album. Production is once again top-notch, even surpassing previous outings, relying once again on renowned producer Joost van den Broek, proving he is the perfect choice for the job, helping the band reach new heights with each release. So very, very high marks for this album. I can't say I'm completely surprised. I'm not saying that I expected anything lower, but this really impressed some people.
Yeah, I'm really surprised. I didn't know James Van Der Beek was a record producer.
It's Joost van
der Broek.
Van den Broek.
Okay, it's not James Van Der Beek. Got it.
No, sir. He, I'm certain, is still an actor and not a music producer.
Okay. Had to get that joke in there. I know at one point Robert Winfrey's going to listen to this, and I want him to just break something.
Oh, well.
As he's listening to this. Just snap a pencil in half. Like, Mark, you fucking idiot. James Van Der Beek. Hope you drown in whatever the name of the body of water that show was named after.
Dawson's Creek, sir.
Thank you. All right, can I do that one again?
Body of water. We're working on a title here. We're thinking body of water or meandering brook. No? How about Dawson's Creek?
Babbling Brook? Close. Take two. I hope you Radulich. I hope you drown in Dawson's Creek. Nailed it.
There we go. All right.
Okay, so according to Jansen, Kingdom of Heaven Part 3, the Antediluvian Universe, is the final part of the Kingdom of Heaven series. The Kingdom of Heaven is at hand. He stated, this is the third and final Kingdom of Heaven song. It's our 8th studio album. The number 8 is also very spiritual. Because if you put it on the side, it's the infinity symbol.
Yes, sir. It's a lemniscate.
God, now I really do hope I drown in Dawson's Creek. Kingdom of Heaven is about life after death, and it's also number 8 on the album. So there is a lot of hidden symbolism on the album and in the artwork. But people are dumb, and no one's going to get any of that. No, it doesn't say that. The big life question, what is the true meaning of life? Why is there air? No. What is the true meaning of life? How do we navigate through life within ourselves? We are we are all yin and yang. We are all made out of light and dark. We all have... Boy, this really is right up its own ass. We all have this labyrinth within ourselves in which we have to navigate ourselves. We hopefully find our way out of the labyrinth and don't get lost within the labyrinth ourselves.
Yeah. Hence the album cover, by the way, which is a lady looking down at a maze.
Yeah.
Where her chest used to be.
Can I just talk about how Rivers is a very pretty song, and it's probably one of my favorites off the album. Just it's obviously different than most of the album itself.
Yeah.
I needed something a little bit different. So it's very jarring, by the way, because Rivers is a very slow and pretty and soft song, and then it goes into Synergize, which is fucking crazy.
Yep. Yeah, these three are I mean, they're as different tracks as you can get on here. You got a 13-minute opus, and then you got Rivers, which is a beautiful ballad. Can't compare it to much else on the album. And then again, Synergize is probably a representation of what the rest of the album's kind of like.
And also the Radulich and Broadcasting Network theme.
Yeah. That's the title. The working title of the track was Synergize Mark Manic Manifests.
Synergize Your Podcast, I believe, is what they initially called it.
Oh, yes. Inspired by us, I'm sure.
Absolutely.
But yeah, Kingdom of Heaven, 13-minute song, you knew something like this was going to happen on this album. And maybe that was the trilogy thing I was hearing about, because just like you said, this is the third part, blah, blah, blah. But, it is... At the beginning, you can tell what you're going to get into. You're like, oh, man, this is starting really slow. Is this going to be one of those really long drawn? And sure enough, it is. But the thing is that it keeps you interested the whole 13 minutes. I think about at the 7-minute mark. And if you look up the lyrics, they have this thing broken down into like, I know the fourth part, which is duality, is where it's all of a sudden it starts getting real heavy. And you're like, oh, wow, this is really good. So it is all over the place when it comes to the construction of it. I'm not saying that's a bad thing. What I'm saying is that you get everything you want in this one song. You got the beautiful vocals, you got the choirs, you got the guitars, you got the keyboards. I mean, yeah, there's one part in here I remember standing out where I was like, oh, there's a synth. There's the synth. So I enjoyed Kingdom of Heaven for being a 13-minute song. Usually I poo-poo on those, Mark. I poo-poo upon them. I poo-poo upon them, but that one did me good. And Rivers, just like you said, great ballad.
Jesse likes his beer cold and his song short.
Yes, sir. And Synergize picks it right back up again.
And he likes his dialogue snappy.
That's right, damn it. But yeah, good 3 tracks, man. I'm again, I haven't been turned off by any song going through this, and if you're going to look at it lyrically, and you may go the Mark route and think that okay, let's tone this down, but I think that would do the album a disservice.
No, I wouldn't. I'm not suggesting they tone it down. Look, just because I can't appreciate the multi layers, maybe a smarter person than I listening to this absolutely did and was like, I don't know what your dumbass couldn't figure out, and that's fine. I don't hide the fact that I approach music from a fairly surface level, from a very simplistic level. Sometimes I can dig into things. Sometimes I can really read into a track. Some stuff just doesn't grab me like that. Sometimes I just kind of listen to it and I'm like, oh, that's pretty. Oh, that kicks ass.
I would love it if Epica, their next album, was nothing but political driven, just symphonic metal.
I just want them to show up.
You would be all over it.
You know what I want? I want them to show up to like an anger management meeting and do temper.
Oh, okay.
That was the shit.
All right.
My friend called me the other day, and he was like, "Have you heard of this band?" And I'm like, "Have you heard Temper?" And I sent him the link. Nice. I was like, "That's the track right there."
Very nice. Very nice.
All right. Well, let's start wrapping this up here. We have 2 more tracks to go, and then we'll be done for the evening. Another night, another podcast, another review. This is Twilight Reverie, the Hypnagogic State, and then Omega, Sovereign of the Sun Spheres. I'm going to give this a solid A. First of all, there's some Lord of the Rings shit going on around here.
Okay.
There are a couple of these songs where I'm just like, is this the Battle of Pelennor Fields? Is the Nazgul about to get fucked up by someone who is not a man?
Just might happen.
It just might. No, I really like this album. I thought, I have no complaints about it. It's really, to me, it's perfect. I got to give it a solid A. I think there was enough differentiation between the songs to where I wasn't necessarily bored. I think the musicianship is spot on. I like the fact that it was about something interesting. If I didn't always get it, that's fine. That's just my dumbass. So, yeah, I'm going to give it an A.
Yeah, man. I mean, think about it. This is a 70-minute album, and you cruise through it with not a realization of the time that is passing by, which is,
right.
For me, I mean, that's a big deal, because there are some albums that really make you go, oh my gosh, we got 3 more songs to go, right. And it's almost another 20
don't
minutes.
Don't get me wrong. It's no King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard.
Take 3. That is true. But yeah, hey, I was really impressed. This is by far one of the better metal albums I think we've had the chance to listen to so far in 2021.
It's kind of going back to where we started here. We started with Labyrinth. Hang on. We started with Labyrinth, Welcome to the Absurd Circus. We were both like, meh. We did Weezer, OK Human. It wasn't a metal album, but we had a fun time listening to it, and it definitely engendered a conversation about the times we are, in fact, living in.
Yep.
Then we did Corpulacani, and we both went, yep.
Corpulacani.
That's definitely a Corpulacani album. Yep. And then we did Serenia, and we were like, yeah, it's okay.
Yeah.
And then we skipped a week, and here we are.
Yeah, I was impressed with Serenia, and I was hoping that, I was like, oh man, I hope Epica can keep me interested like Serenia did. And they did.
Yeah, more than interested, I think.
Yeah, I think if I'm comparing the 2 albums, I think Epica kind of blows Serenia out of the water. Even though I really like Serenia, this is so much more than what Serenia is. So, I'm there with you. Fantastic album. I'm glad I had the opportunity to review it right after Serenia as well. And it's good to kind of see Epica back. And I think that, I hope it's not another 5 years before they drop another one. And there's a lot of introspection, and you got to look at yourself, Mark. You got to sit down and think about your own spirituality and chakras sometimes in order to make sure you're right in the right place.
I need to align my chakras. It'll help me pee for distance.
Nice.
Speaking of peeing for distance, next week on the Metal Hammer of Doom,
I hope we have a pee show. It's all nothing but urine.
It's gonna me and Jesse are gonna take turns peeing for distance, see who wins. Jesse's gonna write his name in the ether of snow. You won't be able to see anything, but you will hear the sprinkles. The drip drip.
Oh.
There is probably
a podcast out there that's done that.
There's just all peeing, 40 minutes of peeing. I hope.
Oh.
If you're out there and you're listening to this show and you're like, hey, wait a minute, I do a podcast where all we do is pee, you send that link my way.
Do that. And you just hold on to that link real tightly, Mark. Don't share it with anybody else.
No, sir. Next week, A Day to Remember. You're welcome, Jesse. You know much A Day to Remember?
I don't think I do.
No,
I really don't think I do. Yeah, I can't wait.
And then the week after that is St. Patrick's Day. Oh, boy, you and me.
Hey, I'm Irish, buddy. I've got some Irish in me.
Yeah, do you now? Does it hurt?
Oh, right now, as a matter of fact. We better wrap this up.
St. Patrick's Day. I'm going to spend my St. Patrick's Day with Jesse. We're going to drink a pint of Guinness. And we're going to listen to some Fiddler's Green. 3 cheers for 30 years, buddy.
Great. That is fantastic.
Yes, sir. And then when we come back the following week, we will be doing Rob Zombie.
Oh, yes. Take a breath. And then
let me fill up my lungs with air on this one.
me.
Uh,
All right,
Yep, here we go. Me ha. Do re mi fa sol la ti do. You are 16, going on 17. The lunar ejection Kool-Aid eclipse conspiracy.
wow.
Yeah.
Has he dropped singles off that? He has, hasn't he? There's like one I know that's been
Yeah.
out there. Okay.
Yeah. I just need to know, Rob Zombie, if everyone's still fucking in a UFO.
I hope there's a part 2 on that album. Somewhere.
Why can't we get a full metal opera of everyone's fucking in a UFO?
Oh, I want from liftoff to orbit and
Intergalactic
planets,
planetary fucking in a UFO.
yep.
And then speaking of fucking in a UFO, Wednesday, March 31st, we're not going to be seeing Godzilla vs. Kong opening night because it's the fucking middle of the week. So instead, you and I are going to be talking Tomahawk, Tonic Immobility. We did a Tomahawk album a little way back in the day. A little bit of Mike Patton there for your ass.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, you're not the biggest Mike Patton fan, or Faith No More for that matter.
I don't remember Tomahawk being on the list. Now, how long ago was that, by the way? What are you talking, like 2000?
Right, let's fucking Google it. So, Tomahawk. Radulich.
I swear, I this must be like a very early Metal Hammer of Doom days.
Holy shit, I actually did a... oh, nope, never mind. 411... You know how long ago that was? 8 years ago.
Don't fucking say, man. That was before I even knew of the network.
The 411mania.com Music Zone writers return to review the latest offering from the Church of Mike Patton, Oddfellows by Tomahawk. Yikes.
Okay.
8 years ago, baby dolls.
Wow. 2013.
Yeah. Yeah,
That's
buddy.
great.
Yes, sir. So, I don't even remember when the last Tomahawk, but like, how long it's been in between Tomahawk albums, because it might be 8 years for all I know. Here, I'm looking at their discography now. Yep, the last one was 2013, Oddfellows.
Crazy.
So, Tonic Immobility comes out March 26th, exactly a month from when Epica came out with their new album. So,
Okay.
yeah, man. So we'll check that out. A little bit of Tomahawk for you, and that'll be all the Metal Hammer of Doom for the month of March. How about that?
I like it. I like it a lot.
All right, in the meantime, in between time, it's been Tom and Jerry all week long.
It's been Get It Week right here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network.
We started with the show that we started with the comic pair that came after Tom and Jerry from the Hanna-Barbera folks, the Rough and Ready show. We did another one of those Hanna-Barbera DC modernization type comics, like the Scooby Apocalypse and Snagglepuss and Ronnie Adams' favorite comic ever, the Flintstones.
Oh yes, if you
By
can
Mark
ruin
Russell.
a cartoon, it puts a smile on Ronnie Adams' face.
Yep, he hates them. When it pokes their eyes out. So we did the Rough and Ready show by Howard Chaykin. We loved it. You should listen to that podcast. We sang his praises. We
Wow.
lied.
Wow.
No, we didn't.
It was nowhere near what you were trying to describe it as.
No, sir.
You guys were not impressed.
Speaking of not impressed, the next night, myself, Robert Winfrey, and Alexis Haina spent 8 hours reviewing Tom and Jerry. But we also talked about Dr. Seuss no longer printing 6 books, San Diego Comic-Con canceling their in-person event in July, and we actually had some box office news to talk about with Tom and Jerry, so that's why that podcast took forever.
Yeah, there was a lot of good grist for the mill there with the Dr. Seuss talk because, I mean, a lot of the stuff you guys were talking about, I had no idea. I was like, what, pointing to...
What did he say? What kind of ink?
That blew my mind. Number one, that blew my mind. I was like, what and how are we misinterpreting that? And then I can say that my favorite Seuss book was It All Happened Down on Mulberry Street, or what is it called?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember reading that one backwards and forwards when I was a kid. So I heard, just real quick, I heard that, oh my goodness, Alexis mentioned that one of her friends sold the books like a couple weeks ago, like a couple Seuss books on eBay for like $10 a piece or something.
Mm-hmm.
I assume that has the worth of these things like jumped dramatically now that they're not going to be in
go
print.
on eBay. People are selling these books for like hundreds of dollars.
Oh, wow. Dude,
Yeah.
that has been some of the craziest, like, eBay stuff going on in the past, like, I don't know, for the past, like, few months. I mean, have you heard anything about, like, the comic book cards that came out back in 1990-some from Marvel are fetching, like, hundreds of dollars now when they used to be, like, worth hardly anything.
Really?
And now all of a sudden, like, if you have a bunch of the first set of Marvel Universe cards, they're going for insane prices as well. It's crazy out there, man. It's crazy. It's crazy.
All right. I
It's
believe
crazy.
you.
It's crazy.
Tomorrow night.
It's crazy more.
It's craziness.
It's crazy.
Robert Winfrey and David Wright will be reviewing the TNG Star Trek movies, Insurrection, Generations, First Contact, and whatever the other one is. And then on Friday, we got a double shot of Damn You Hollywood. Myself and Robert Winfrey will be reviewing Boss Level with Frank Grillo, which comes out on Hulu. And then late in the evening, me and the B-Movie Master himself, Jason Teasley, we will be reviewing Coming to America, which will be having its debut on Amazon Prime. And then this Saturday, Tom and Jerry Week concludes with me and my kids doing a commentary over the 1992 animated Tom and Jerry the movie. So that's all in the archives. Last week, we did The Scene of the Crime by Ed Brubaker. Myself, Jesse Starcher, and Robert Winfrey had a 3-hour therapy session centered around Too Old to Die Young.
Yeah, we didn't watch Too Old to Die Young. We experienced Too Old to Die Young.
Goddamn right we did. Get some French film for your ass. Yeah, after the end of that podcast, the only thing Jesse could think of was poor Monica Bellucci.
That's true.
Who's not in Too Old to Die Young, by the way.
No, she was not.
We did an on-trial for Only God Forgives. We reviewed The Elimination Chamber. We reviewed the Golden Globes winning I Care a Lot. Pat and I did our next chapter of boxing on Lennox Lewis. And that was it. That was what we did for the week. So, what do you got going on, my love?
Oh, well, we are expecting to record our next episode of Unspoken Issues tomorrow. It looks like it will be about the last issue of Transformers. So Transformers number 80. That will be airing at a future time on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, so keep an eye out for that. Hey, syndicated source material is going to be dropping this coming Saturday with a re-air of the most listened to source material comics podcast. I think it held that record for quite a while. It may possibly still be, I don't know, but JLA versus Predator. And I think that I caught a bit of the angry video game nerd syndrome where if you talk so negatively about something, the ratings or the views are going to go up. And that happened. It was just me doing this podcast, but I ran that thing through a shredder. I sold it for 25 cents because I was so upset. I sold it. I didn't give it away. I sold it for 25 cents to somebody after I did the review. But yeah, JLA versus Predator. What a concept. Horrible execution. Check that out. It's going to be airing this coming Saturday. All sorts of great podcasts that I've had the opportunity to be on recently. So Mark already went through a good bit of them. Check out Unspoken Issues. Check out the UnspokenDecade.com, where a lot of our stuff pops up over there for the 90s comics. And I think that's it, man. I'm running out of steam. I got another 13 hours to work tomorrow, and my ass hurts right now.
God damn it, shut the fuck up. My ass hurts and I have to be up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Put it on a t-shirt, Mindy. And my ass hurts. End this podcast. For Jesse Starcher, I'm Mark Radulich. This has been the Metal Hammer of Doom. Be well, be safe, and behave.